Awesome. Thank you very much for coming today, everybody. Just wanted to acknowledge that we are gathered on Treaty 6 territory, our traditional meeting grounds, gathering place, and traveling route to the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, and Nakota Sioux. We acknowledge all the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries. Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, good morning. I'm Pete Guthrie. I'm the MLA for Airdrie Cochrane, and as Minister of Infrastructure, it's my pleasure to welcome you here to celebrate this exciting and highly anticipated opening. I'd also like to thank Speaker Cooper and guests from Ellis Don and GEC Architecture for joining me here today. Ellis Don is the primary contractor for this entire project, which includes the new pool and fountain, as well as Phase 2, which is currently under construction behind us. Edmontonians, Albertans, and visitors from all over have been patiently waiting and anticipating the completion of this landmark. So I'm pleased to announce that construction of Phase 1 is just wrapping up, and we are officially opening the pool and fountain on July 1st, just in time for Canada Day celebrations here on the grounds. The new and improved facilities, they're safer, more accessible than before, allowing additional visitors to enjoy the pool and build some lasting memories. I'd like to thank the crews who have worked tirelessly to ensure that a July 1st opening was possible. Canada Day has been our target for Phase 1, but we were actually quite reluctant to state that, because Mother Nature doesn't always agree with the construction of, with projects that are of outdoor construction. So we were very pleased that Ellis Don was able to make that deadline happen, and thank you so much for that. And as part of that first phase, crews replaced walkways, concrete deckings and fountains and gardens, and they upgraded mechanical and water filtration systems to meet current building codes and health standards, as many of those naturally have changed since the pool was originally built in the 70s. There's over 95,000 cubic feet of concrete used and poured on this site, and about 200 tons of rebar used. Additionally, most of the granite you see in these features was refurbished from the old fountains, preserving a little bit of history, but also saving taxpayers money. We've really done our best here to ensure that this is a spot for people to connect and catch up and to have a little fun in our capital city. And while it's been some time since the old fountains were operational, I'm excited to see them up and running again, and I look forward to Phase 2, the river and spray park, being, completing construction this fall and being commissioned in the spring. With that, I'd like to turn it over and invite our Speaker Cooper, up to say a few words.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Minister Guthrie, and thank you to those who have joined us here today. It really is an exciting day. In many respects, it's like Christmas morning for the Speaker, the start of session, big activities here on the legislature grounds, when we get to welcome people to the seat of their democracy. And so I'm so excited to be able to be here today. And Minister Guthrie and your entire team, thank you for the important work that you have been putting in, and in particular, the Department and Ministry of Infrastructure and all of those who have made today on a fairly accelerated timeline happen. It really is exciting to be part of. I, of course, want to thank everyone else for joining us here today at the legislature grounds. Those of you who know me know that I'm a little bit of a history buff or nerd, depending on the way you look at things. So I'd like to just take a couple of moments to take a brief walk down memory lane and set the stage for today's announcement. These grounds hold historic importance. With human activity dating back some 8,000 years, the site of the legislature now sits, for thousands of years, has been a meeting place for Canada's First Peoples. In fact, the Cree word for this area, Fanonin, means gathering site. which is the name for the theater that's just in the Queen Elizabeth II building behind us here in the Legislative Assembly Visitor Center. I encourage you all to check that out after today's announcement as well. Well, Fort Edmonton was founded in 1975 by the Hudson Bay Company, further downstream where the North Saskatchewan and the Sturgeon River meet. By 1830, the fort found its permanent home here, where the site was selected as the home of the new provincial capital. The building of the fort was demolished, with the last set of fort buildings coming down in 1915. Despite the beauty of the legislature building, the grounds were not always this majestic gem that they are today. Originally, in fact, there was a residential neighborhood. 108th Street came right into the entrance of the building. And during the early years of the legislature, it wasn't uncommon to witness politicians arriving to the Legislative Assembly by horse and carriage. Over the years, the horse and carriage were replaced by cars, and significant traffic congestion became the norm. This remained the status quo until the 1970s, when under the leadership of Premier Lougheed, the surrounding grounds were slowly transformed into the park and designated to make the legislature a more welcoming place for Albertans and tourists alike. By 1974, the Lougheed government began purchasing land around the grounds to make it more accessible to the public. The houses disappeared and 108th Street ended at 99th Avenue, at that time called McKay Avenue. The transformation of the legislature grounds features walkways, fountains, and yes, you guessed it, the reflecting pool. Fast forward to present, and the vital renovation project undertaken by Alberta's infrastructure in 2020 to change and update the maintenance concerns related to the pools at the time. Demolition on the reflecting pool, plaza deck, and North Cascade fountains began in March 2023 and finished in August 2023. As I watched the transformation of the site, I used to pretend that I was the honorary project manager. Unfortunately, only my view from the window allowed me to see all of the incredible activities that were taking place over the past number of months and years, all of which made today's announcement possible. I want to take a moment and thank everyone who worked on the project, from engineers to architect to skilled trades, laborers, and those who brought the blueprints to life. This project is the merging of the old and new, and I'm so pleased to see the fountain restored to its former glory. Not everyone may be aware, but the dome fountain mimics the dome of our beautiful legislature, and seeing it through the window brightens my day on even the longest of speaker days. Being here today with Minister Guthrie to share this important announcement fills me with such joy, and I know that there's still great work to be done, and I'm thrilled as we look forward to the spring of next year to continue to invite Albertans to the seat of their democracy and see the completion of Phase 2. Today, the upgrades of the Alberta Legislature grounds continue the legacy of being a place for Albertans and visitors to gather, to build community, and to look to the future of our province. I can think of no time better to celebrate the beginning of a new era for this beautiful place than Canada Day. I applaud the minister and his team for ensuring the reflecting pools and the dome fountains will be open for everyone on the 1st of July as we celebrate together. With that, thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to spending many hours with my family here at the fountains of the legislature.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you to everybody for coming. Canada Day is just a few short days away on Monday, so please come out and enjoy the grounds. And with that, I'll pass it over to Benji Smith, my press secretary, to facilitate any questions.
Thank you, Minister. So that brings us to the end of our formal event, and we'll move over to the media Q&A. Just a reminder, one question, one follow-up. Both speakers are happy to take questions. We'll start on the floor here with reporters, and before going over to the phone, please use the mic provided and identify yourself and your outlet. Thank you.
Hi, Janet French from the CBC. I think my first question is for Minister Guthrie. Just thinking back to when the city redid its wading pool, there was a big discussion about whether the water needed to be treated or chlorinated, something to do with the depth of the pool. So when you say that the standards were upgraded, like, is this chlorinated treated water now in the reflecting pool?
It is treated water. It's only 6 inches deep. If you remember, it was about knee-high previously. So yeah, we had to upgrade to all of the new and wonderful building codes that we have today.
And so roughly how much did that cost to?
Well, I don't have the detailed, but the entire project was $10 million.
Question for Speaker Cooper. I believe it was 2019 or 2020 when you had to shut the fountains down. How did that affect the vibe of being on the grounds?
You know, I think that anything that we can do to encourage people to come to the legislative grounds, to commune, to meet each other here, I think helps to the overall fabric of the province of Alberta. And so when there was one less attraction, if you will, when the fountains were closed, I think that it's an unfortunate necessity at the time. That certainly was one less reason to come here. Now, we still obviously saw people coming to the legislature grounds. It's a beautiful park in downtown Edmonton with incredible paths and great history. But I think continuing to invest in infrastructure just like this allows Albertans to enjoy the legislature grounds even more. And so I'm excited to see that they're back up and running. And I look forward to the river feature that I think will encourage even more young Albertans to come to the legislature and have positive experiences here on the grounds, and hopefully that translates into engagement in our democracy.
Yeah, and Catherine Gurkowski, Alberta Today. So obviously the pipes had to be replaced because the fountain originally wasn't actually meant for people to wade in, and the pipes got kind of corroded having to chlorinate it. Can you speak to how it will be maintained on an ongoing basis and what the expected lifespan of this new fountain will be?
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you as far as life expectancy, but yeah, the system, we have a maintenance team that existed previously. Naturally, they'll be out there in full force. There was, as you mentioned, several issues. There was leaking that was going on through the fabric underneath, some of which we were hoping to salvage and reuse, as concrete will last for decades. Unfortunately, we did find some other deterioration down there and had to rip up the entire area. But that said, I think that we have something here that's going to be ready to use and available for decades and decades to come.
And I have an off-topic question, hopefully leaning on the speaker's nerdy expertise. So with the NDP leader and official opposition leader being two different positions, I'm wondering, can you explain, like, will Naheed Nenshi be able to use the office? Like, how does the resource sharing works until the leader gets a seat?
Sure. Happy to speak to that, and I look forward to meeting with Mr. Nenshi later this afternoon, where we will actually be going over a lot of the nuances. And as you know, the legislature, its precinct, is a complicated place. And all of the decisions that we make in and around the Speaker's office are built on the precedents of how situations just like this have been handled in the past. And so, as you will know, resources from the Legislative Assembly office can't be used for political activities, and Mr. Nenshi is the leader of a political party and not the member of an assembly. But obviously, we want to facilitate our democracy in all of the ways possible, and so we'll make sure that he can access the buildings, he'll have access to parking, able to utilize some space here in the NDP caucus, and that, along with a number of other opportunities that he'll have to be able to fulfill his role. Of course, there are some nuances there that they will need to work through between him and the leader of the official opposition in the form of Ms. Gray, as we saw yesterday announced. And so we will rely on a lot of the decisions of previous speakers. Of course, this was the case for the former premier at one point in time, the former leader of the official opposition under Jason Kenney at the time. And so we've got a lot of precedent to help in this situation, both facilitate the needs of the ND caucus, as well as Mr. Nenshi is the leader of a political entity that plays an important role in our province.
Jonathan Bradley, Western Standard. My question's for Minister Guthrie. So you spoke about the fountain being an important part of the Alberta legislature's grounds. What do you hope people take away from the first phase?
Well, you know, there was a question earlier about the use and how people have missed it. And surprisingly, the inquiries into our office have been significant over this particular issue. And I think the fact that we have the crowd here that we do today is indicative that many people are excited to be able to get out there. I know when I was first elected back in 2019, I was just so impressed walking by the fountains in the summertime and seeing how many families were crowded around and sitting up around into the gardens. So I just think that this is just something that Edmontonians, Albertans, and those that are coming to our province from across the country and internationally, just something that they're going to be able to really enjoy.
My follow-up pertains to you speaking earlier about you were unsure about it meeting the timeline for July 1. What were some of the challenges crews faced when it came to getting this fountain built for July 1?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, with any reclamation type project, once you get in there, you start to discover more and more issues. And so you start digging, so the scope expands. So that's one thing. And then there's always the elements. Rain can slow us down as we were expecting that it might. But the crews here, they worked long hours, and as Speaker Cooper was discussing, he saw it outside of his window. It was a busy area from morning till night to make sure that we could make this day.
Thank you.
Perfect. Seeing no questions in the room, we'll move over to the phones. Operator, can you please put through our first caller?
Thank you. We will now take questions from the telephone lines. If you have a question, please press star 1 on your device's keypad. If at any time you wish to cancel your question, please press star 2. There will be a brief pause while the participants register for questions. Thank you for your patience. The first question is from Carly Robinson from City News. Please go ahead.
Hi there. My question is about the depth of the pool. Some people might still be disappointed to hear that it's not that knee-deep pool that kids can practically swim in. Can you talk a little bit more about the changes in building codes and what would have been needed to keep that depth of the pool and why this shallow pool was chosen?
Right. To go beyond the 6-inch, we would have to have lifeguards on duty. We just felt that that was going to be something that would be difficult for us to facilitate on a 24-hour basis. So we followed the reflecting pool rules, I guess, and that being a 6-inch depth. We also wanted more people to be able to use the facility. And so it has it's wheelchair accessible, and I think that families are still going to be able to enjoy it the same way that they did. I know when we were elected, we made as a caucus. I'm not sure, Mr. Speaker, if you joined us, but we went through that reflecting pool, and yeah, it was knee high at the time. But I'm looking forward to being able to do something similar in the future.
If I might just add, Minister Guthrie, when the consultation process was underway here with respect to both Phase 1 and Phase 2, and understanding that there may be some disappointment with respect to the depth of the reflecting pool, I think phase 2 being a much more interactive splash park type opportunity will still really encourage that young kids, families to come and enjoy all of the aspects of the splash park that we will see constructed between now and next spring, and then opened in the spring and summer of next year. So still excited about being able to provide opportunities for families to come and enjoy the outdoors and also water-based activities.
And do you have a follow-up, Carly?
Yes, for Speaker Cooper, just Canada Day at the legislature. Can you talk a little bit about what people can expect? There will be a fountain now. What else will be happening?
Oh, there's going to be, of course, the fountain will be open, and people are encouraged to come down and enjoy that. But we also have a number of really exciting activities happening in and around the legislature. Of course, my personal favorite is it's the only day that the chamber is open to the public, and so members of the public can walk through on the actual Legislative Assembly floor. We have great entertainment happening in and around the grounds at a number of different locations, both the South Lawn, here the Plaza. So I encourage folks to come down. All the activities are free, so come enjoy the grounds, enjoy some family fun activities, and celebrate all of the incredible things that make us uniquely Canadian. And building community together here at the legislature grounds is a really incredible opportunity for all Albertans, and in particularly Edmontonians.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Seeing no more callers on the line, that brings us to the end of our announcement. I'll just have our speakers stand here by the podium for a quick photo opportunity. And just a reminder to all media on site that in the media notice sent out yesterday, there is a Dropbox link to B-roll that you are free to use. Thank you very much, everybody.